Welcome to Community Talk Radio. This is Project Independence and You, Talk of the Town on LIU Public Radio. I'm Kristina Liu, along with Otto Los, who is co-host, dear friend, volunteer, all the good stuff, and Project Independence ambassador. So Otto, thank you for being my co-host today.
And thank you for being the host.
Oh, thank you. My gosh. I mean, we had quite the first hour of our segment. And if you missed it, you could certainly check it out on our WCWP YouTube page or on our Project Independence website. And of course, you could always watch us on North Hempstead TV, which is channel 18 or 65 on Optimum and channel 46 on Verizon Fios and on North Shore TV, because our first hour that we had was with was really fun, because I'm so glad I was able to mention it, that he was in Dallas, Texas. So, you know, we're just traveling all over the United States. Yes, he was in Dallas.
He's a professor.
Yeah, but he was in Dallas today, in Houston. Okay.
Yeah.
But
technology
really,
at its finest.
It was just like fun, you know, that he joined us. And Dr. Arturo Hernandez is an author and a professor, as we mentioned. But we talked about all things of kind of how to build your brain power, and you're never too old to try something new, which really works certainly with our message on the show.
We got to be realistic.
Yeah,
it's more difficult when you get older because of a lot of reasons.
Of course,
and social connection, frankly, which we talk about. I witness it with a lot of people. It's more difficult as you get older because your cast of characters gets smaller.
Right.
Yeah.
But I do think
it's more difficult to create a new cast.
It is. It's certainly you're not, think about, being in the workforce, you're constantly coming across all different people and, making connections, and then and that's why retirement's difficult a lot of times for people, because you go from, having this network to it's just gone.
Yeah. I mean, if you did not have an outside network before you retired, and you think it's going to go on with the people you work with, one or two that may happen, but not everybody.
No, it's true. No, and it's hard. I know, in my whole family, in our first segment, just talking about, we have such a different group. We have extroverts in my family. We have introverts. We have, the people that rather be curled up, reading a book at home. And, then you have myself who wants to go out and, meet new people and do different things. But I think that, whatever it is, though, and that's what I liked in the first segment, whatever your new thing is that you want to dive into, you certainly
can be happy as an introvert.
Yeah.
You don't have to be an extrovert.
Yeah.
We're all born. I like my own time as well. I'm an extrovert.
Me too, right.
I am an extrovert, yes, but I can also be an introvert.
Me too. I'm with you.
I have no problem keeping myself amused.
No, I agree.
But maybe I don't want to do that every day, all day.
No, but I think that's, it just goes into, you are who you are, right?
Exactly.
But you certainly, I think what's nice is that, you can, I like this idea of flexibility and I'm a firm believer in, the journey is the best part. And that, it felt good to be validated by Dr. Hernandez that, a lot of times, and I could also get in my own head, right? You have this goal and it's this big picture. So I think that that in itself is probably, something that gets in the way of most of us because of that. So the best thing, is to, it's about the journey, not the destination, right? So it's in these little wins along the way. He was really stressing the importance of those things too. And I think a lot of us sometimes forget about our life experience and how that brings us to new situations, and we just keep building on our skills. So it's really it's all good stuff.
Now I'll admit to technical difficulties.
Yes, it is okay. I know Otto is struggling over here with his and I wish I could run over Otto, but you have to have your thing muted. You got to mute your volume is what you need to do.
Okay.
So next week we have a really great show as well. We have Jeannie Cacciatore, who is from the Family and Children's Association, the Mental Health Awareness Training Program, Safe Observant Senior SOS Program. And she's going to talk a glimpse into mental health first aid, which is really, really good stuff too. So I hope everyone tunes into that, because I did a wonderful training with her, and she is just such an asset to how to handle being in a situation where you need to have some mental health first aid, which is really good. So I hope everyone checks that out. And we have a whole bunch of great programs also coming up. And if you ever have any suggestions or topics, whatever it might be, you can always call 311 or 516-869-6311.
Okay, technically, I'm almost back.
You got to turn your video on, my friend. You have no video on. There we go. We
We
lost
got Dan hit.
we have Dan who
on.
hopefully could help Otto out over here.
Okay.
But anyone that is listening, we want to remind you that Fun Day Monday has fully kicked off. July 8th was our first one, and it was so many people attended, which was really, really wonderful. And it was a hot day, but people came and really was just a great day filled with exercise and all kinds of good stuff. And next Monday, which hopefully the weather is good, is going to be Viva Las Vegas, the Vegas Strip tribute. And you can do, in addition to that, there is pickleball instruction, there's yoga, there's line dancing, and there is Tai Chi as well. So if anyone is interested in attending Fun Day Monday, and if you need transportation, call 311 or 516-869-6311. There is a full list of all these different stops.
Well, that was this week?
Yes, that was, yep, it was Monday.
Friday, I got to the farmer's market.
Oh, you did? Well, give us a little.
Because it was on Friday,
Mhm.
and normally we can't go because we're here. And I got real strawberries.
Did you? And how was the verdict? They were all right.
But you're right, they need more people to go.
Yeah.
So we should tell people that this farmer's market is really good.
Great. Well, did you go on the earlier end of things, or were you?
About 10 o'clock.
10 o'clock. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, what's really good is that when I come back from the show, there's a bazillion people at the pool, and I see that the farmers market was actually hanging out a little longer because there were so many people coming from the pool. So,
really?
yes. And speaking of farmers market and tips, this is a quick tip. It might not be as fresh as the farmers market, but on one of our shows a couple of weeks ago, we had on a dietitian who was telling us, well, I should say, Otto was very upset about his saga with blueberries and how blueberries just aren't the same. We bring it up on many shows. But our dietitian was giving some really great tips, and she suggested about having the wild blueberry, frozen organic blueberries. I want to make sure I hit all the buzzwords. So Otto had mentioned he did that. So I went home after the radio show. I took our golden nugget. I brought it home to my mom. I said, Otto has a hot take. He tried it out. He microwaved his blueberries for a little bit. So I picked up these organic frozen wild blueberries for my mom, and she gave it a thumbs up too, Otto. She was very happy with the sweetness. Yes. Yep. Just a short little thing to get the chill out. Yeah. She said it was really good too. And she almost tasted like a little bit of like a blueberry pie kind of sweetness. Yeah. Yeah. So there we go. So we put we don't just, yap on the show. We really put our knowledge into action. So yes, anyone that is listening, and you are looking for a blueberry, there you go. That's close to
discussions that we've had. I just read something, and I've actually talked to my own attorney about people were always talking about trust for real estate and whatnot. But there's a new thing in New York that comes in, and I know very little about it.
Okay.
TOD, transfer on death. It's an option to a trust that's new in New York. And somewhere along the line, we should get somebody on.
You got it.
Talk about the comparisons.
Yeah.
You want that, don't you?
You got it.
Personally,
I have a question. I have a question about that later.
Yeah.
But at the farmer's market, do they have other berries, like raspberries, strawberries, blackberries, anything?
Yeah, they did.
They did? Because I went to a farmer's market last Saturday, and all they had were blueberries, and my wife likes blackberries and raspberries.
They only had strawberries, but now that you mention it,
I don't know if they're in season. That's why I'm asking.
Interesting.
I can't say that I really looked for that. I was zeroing in on strawberry.
Okay. No,
He
she-
had a one-track mind there.
I got her the blueberries. She was very happy, but blackberries and raspberries, no offense to our supermarkets out there, are
Yeah.
just awful.
Yeah.
They're just
Yeah, they-
awful.
Well, you know what? I will make it my task. I'm here next week, but the following week we have a repeat show, so I will check out the farmers market for you.
And while that trust idea is great, I'm not gonna have anything to leave to my kids, so it's really not gonna make a difference.
Because he's running around spending money on raspberries and blackberries, just trying to find the sweet spot. But
the more I hear and the more I read about trust and transparent doubts and this, that, the worse it gets, the more complicated it gets.
no, but that's why, I think it is, it can certainly be costly, but I think, when you need to have a lawyer, kind of do all this with you. And that's why we try to educate people as much as possible. But, it's very important just to get this planning in action because it is extremely difficult, like so many things that we just try to do.
And I'm
Yeah.
not knocking any
Yeah.
lawyer. All people who do things in life have certain partialities.
Right.
and Things that they think
Mhm.
are good tools. And, you have to kind of absorb what they say.
Yeah, absolutely.
And how it fits to
Yeah,
you.
fits to you. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That
It's-
is a certain, but
it's-
Otto, I will certainly try and find a good speaker on that topic because, it's a hot off the press. Otto brought it to us. So thank you for sharing that, Otto. I want to let people know that it is, speaking of hot off the press, if I could find it in my papers, National Night Out is coming up on Tuesday, August 6th. Now, National Night Out is a really, really lovely event that's all about family friendly, bringing the neighborhood together safely and unity and teaming up with the police force too. So it really is a community building day.
Is this national?
National, yes.
So on August the 6th?
Yep, August 6th.
Right.
But the town, it's grown. There used to only be one event. Now it is in 3 locations. So there's one at Whitney Pond Park. That's over in Manhasset. So that's going to be from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. At Lions Field in Port Washington. That's from 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. And at Martin Bunkie Reed Park over in Westbury from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. There's music, there's educational resources, there's giveaways, a lot of local community vendors, refreshments, and more. It's such a lovely event. Since there is 3, last year there was 3 too. So
This is a relatively new thing, National Night Out.
it's been
how
going
long
on
has
for
it
a
been going
while.
on?
Yeah, it's been going on.
10
Yeah,
years?
yeah, it's been going on for a
Okay.
while. But
And
the town, we all work it because there's 3 events, so it's all hands on deck. I worked at the Manhasset one or Port Washington one last year. I can't remember, but I'll be at the Manhasset one this year, so you can come visit me. But it's such a fun event.
Where is the Manhasset one?
The Manhasset one's Whitney Pond Park, right on Community Drive.
Yeah, right.
But it's really fun, and I love seeing there's so many little kids, and they're having the best time ever because they're dancing, and there's all kinds of giveaways, and you really feel the community support and everyone kind of just being together, which is kind of the overall message that
And that's
we
the
try.
whole point of the whole idea.
That is the whole point of it.
is-
Absolutely. And I could say it actually, you feel it when you're there. It's a really lovely thing. So I encourage people to check out. And they work really hard at finding the local vendors for each community too, which is really nice. So it's just nice to build community support. Once again, Tuesday, August 6th. You can call 311 or 516-869-6311 if you want to get more specifics on this great event. Some other things that are coming up. We have our men's group is still meeting for the Hillside Public Library. That's on Fridays. So they are meeting for the month of July still because they refuse to take a break like the other groups. So the men's group is still going strong. But August, they will be taking a break, I believe, for that. Also, in addition to all the good stuff that's going on at the farmers market, and we have our Fun Day Monday and our concerts, July is also National Park and Recreation Month. So the town of North Hempstead's been doing a bunch of different events throughout the town. So if you are listening to the show live, mind you, today is July 12th, which I almost said June because I can't believe we are in July already. But tomorrow, July 13th, is a family carnival at the pools. You must have a pool pass or daily pass to participate in this, but at Clinton G. Martin Park, there will be one. And then July 14th at Whitney Pond Pool. Next week, there's a family bingo night at Clinton G. Martin Park as well. There's just a bunch of there's pickleball being offered at places. Of course, there's our movies in the park. The next one is going to be July 23rd, and it's going to be the movie Elemental, which is a fun family friendly movie.
Family bingo night.
Mhm.
Is there financial?
It does not mention the prizes. It does. I assume that if there's one thing that the town North Hempstead does, there's pretty
bingo
solid.
used to be a biggie.
Oh, let's not say used to. I work for Project Independence, and it is still a biggie.
Oh, really?
Our Golden Hearts and bingo groups that we have, which take a break for the summer, they'll be back in September, are so popular.
Is that financial?
Well, yes, you do get solid prizes. You're not getting cash. But they have really, really great prizes, and quite extensive prizes. I'm very impressed with the little things they get put together. So yes, bingo is still certainly going strong. I know.
You ever go to a real big bingo place?
I have.
No, it's quite an interesting thing.
I did once, I think. Yeah, when I was a little girl, I mean,
there are people that go and they buy like 10 boards or whatever.
Yeah.
You got boards all over the place, and they start hollering at people.
I can imagine.
If you talk or
yeah,
because they're so focused on taking care of all these boards.
Listen, I've been at many bridal showers, and bridal shower bingo gets quite competitive as well. So no matter what age, we are just saying bingo can, don't sleep on bingo. It's certainly quite the active sport. But yes, Otto, so no fear, it's still
sport,
going.
that's a good way of putting it.
It's a brain game, right? Anything, think about that. There are certain people that, I'm not going to play bingo, right? They'll turn their nose up to, and there's people that love bingo. And I think that it's something that is stimulating. So if that's your thing, that gets you going and then stimulates
years ago, I remember it was, to me anyhow, maybe I'm out of the loop now, but years ago it was big.
Yeah.
I mean, every night of the week it was in this church or that church or American Legion, or everybody had bingo.
That's right. Well, it is still going strong, Otto.
Yeah.
And after the break, we will continue talking about all things that are going on in the town of North Hempstead. This is Talk of the Town on Project Independence and You on LIU Public Radio. So I get this call from my grandma, and she's like,
"What's a podcast and how much does it cost?"
So I tell her, podcasts are like radio shows, but you can download them on any device and listen to them anywhere at any time, and they're free. And then she says,
"I see, but where can you find good ones?"
And I'm like, go to wcwp.org/podcast and check out the lineup of original shows, or download any podcast app on your phone or tablet and search for LIU Studios. And she's all like,
"Oh, that sounds easy."
And then she asked me what an app is.
LIU Studios podcasts, available on any podcast app. Those little button things on your phone screen. Just ask your grandkids.
Welcome back to Community Talk Radio. This is Project Independence and You, Talk of the Town on LIU Public Radio. Well, Otto, let's get back into all the things going on in the town of North Hempstead. If anyone could see the table in front of me right now, they would see there's certainly a lot of things going on. I have multiple papers.
Yeah.
Tomorrow, if you listen to this live once again, today is July 12th. July 13th, there is going to be a walking tour of Jerry Park's Pollinator Gardens. It's going to be led by Megan Festuca, who is from the town of North Hempstead, environmental control specialist. You meet at the entrance of the Bryan Library and do this tour. I've spent so much time as a child at Jerry Park. We called it the duck pond when I was in school, because there's the pond there and all the ducks. So I spent a lot of my years growing up in the Roslyn School District at the duck pond. And now I bring my dog there.
I got a story for you. If you're familiar with the duck pond.
Yes.
You remember where the Jolly Fisherman was?
I do.
Right next to the Jolly Fisherman, there's a building, Carpenter's something.
Yes.
Right. My grandson lives there.
Oh.
In that building.
There you go.
Yeah.
Well, does he go to the duck pond? Well, Jerry
Actually,
pond.
he and I went to have lunch with him at his apartment 2 weeks ago, and we walked all around through the town and around up to.
It's such a great, and that's a great walk in itself. Yeah.
Yeah. And then into the park in the pond.
Yeah.
So it's a nice area.
It's a great walk. So as I was saying, I spent a bazillion, because it was just a nice small park, and we were always there as kids. And now I come, because I bring my dog.
He overlooks it now. He can see it.
Nice apartment. But yes, my husband and I, we bring our dog there because it's dog friendly.
Exactly.
So Easy is a big fan as well, like his mommy. of the duck pond or Jerry Park. And it's a really good walk. And I encourage you to do it because it's not so intensive. There's actual paths you can do, or you can kind of make your own path. But it's a really pretty scenic walk, just to do the whole thing.
Well,
And the
then
town there is
the
nice.
Main Street is
Yeah.
nice. There's a
Absolutely.
deli there, which was
That is a
very
deli.
good
Yep.
deli.
That was a big deli in my
Yeah.
teen years as well. We spent a lot of
We
time over
actually
there.
had
as well.
lunch there.
Yes. Oh,
Yeah.
there you go. And if you want to really just trek it, you go up to Besito, which isn't too far away either, which is another favorite of mine. But I could talk about, restaurant
So you grew
establishments.
up in that area.
Yeah, well, because I
Yeah.
went to Roslyn. So
Yeah.
I mean, it was,
Yeah.
we were often by which we would say the clock tower area. But yes, I really think it's nice. And listen, it might be a little hot. So depending on the weather, certainly, and always call 311 just to find out. But this event is rain or shine. So I think they just kind of change it up a bit. It might be more indoors if it's raining, obviously. Also, we've been doing in the Town of North Hempstead these Wellness Wednesdays. And the next one is July 17th at Clingy Martin Park. There's a skin cancer screening from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. So I recommend, everyone just kind of pops in and checks that out. I love that about North Hempstead. We have really great partnership with Northwell and North Shore University Hospital and Long Island Jewish Medical Center. And Northwell Health is also the sponsor of the Fun Day Monday Health Fair.
Now
which
this,
is
I'm
on
sorry,
July
this
29th.
Wellness Wednesdays
Yes.
is every Wednesday there's going to be something somewhere
In July, yes.
in July.
Yes, in
Okay.
July. So there might be more in August. Right now, I just have the July flyer. But then July 24th is the Saving Lives training at Whitney Pond Park. And then July 31st is another skin cancer screening over at Manor Haven Beach Park. So, right. It's summer and it's about wellness too. So we have a great partnership with Northwell Health in all of that. I mentioned next week that we were going to be talking about mental health first aid. And I have to say, in my personal life, one of my friends was going through some stuff and we were talking about it. And I really found that my training was so helpful in kind of how to gear her with the person that she was dealing with. So I really encourage people to tune into this. I mean, listen, my training was over 2 days. So of course, this is just like a condensed version of that. But Jeannie Cacciatore really gives you some concrete tips on how to navigate certain situations. So then August.
Lord knows there's a lot of them.
Yeah, and it is, and it's something, obviously in my work life, it comes up, you have to know, but especially just in your personal life is hard, right? There's people going through all kinds of different things for different reasons, and just to figure out the best way of helping someone, and it's hard situations. You don't know what to say, and listen, even being in the field and being a social worker, when it comes to a personal situation, all that education and things you learn kind of go right out the window. So it is hard. It's great to have these reminders of how to
every
do those
situation
things.
is different.
Right. Absolutely. On August 2nd, we are going to have an author, a theatrical producer, director, actress, dancer, and a former high fashion model. Carol Ostro will be on, and she wrote a book called Poetry in Motion with Much Emotion. A life well lived. So I'm really excited to have her on. I think she's going to be a really fun guest. And then we have a repeat show. And then August 16th, we're going to have on Greg Balbera, who is a longtime friend of the show from Right at Home, Nassau, Suffolk, is going to talk about seniors and housekeeping. And all that comes with that. Of course, you have the extreme of hoarding, but then you have the, lesser that it's harder, right? Otto, I know we've talked about this. It's the aging process, and housekeeping is tough.
Yeah.
I think about myself, even, it's hard to constantly maintain, when you have a bazillion different things going on, and especially when you're a senior and you have certain limitations as well.
Like in all honesty, we get our house cleaned. Somebody comes in every 3 weeks. Maybe some people can't afford to do that.
Yeah.
So now you wind up even schlepping a vacuum cleaner around in your house when you get older becomes a big deal.
Now you sound like my mom, because that's exactly what she was just saying to me. She's like, I'm going to need your help. She's like, it's just getting too much to schlep this vacuum cleaner around. So
Well, it's true.
Yeah.
So, I mean, now they have robot vacuum cleaners, but they cost money.
Yeah.
So money comes into the equation, unfortunately. And when I walk, I can tell by looking at houses that there's probably seniors in that house that are short on money.
Yeah.
And you can just tell
Yeah.
because they can't do a lot of basic maintenance.
Yeah.
It just becomes obvious.
No, it's hard.
So
It's certainly
the
hard.
point there is that some of that can be helped through Project Independence. They just have to point
That's
out
it.
that they have these
Absolutely.
problems.
No, it's really I'm glad you mentioned that because listen, we always say we might not provide all services. But what we do have is a really great network, and especially our social workers and nurses can really get you connected to different things. We're always talking about our toolbox of resources, and we always say just call 311. No question or ask is ridiculous, or you're going to be, oh, sorry, hung up on. But just call 311 or 516-869-6311 because I do think that the first step is reaching out and getting connected. That's what we're constantly saying is there's a lot out there of people to help you. You just don't know where to go. So call 311, right? And that's it, Otto.
Well, that's a good suggestion.
That's it. When in doubt, call your one-stop shop in this situation. Speaking of concerts and events and everything that's going on, the next concert is going to be on, once again, if you're listening to this live, it'll be on Sunday. It's New York Finest, which is the Police and Sting tribute. I believe Dan Cox was writing this one down
Yes,
for
North
him.
Hempstead resident Dan Cox.
Honorary member of the town.
You will
but
be
really fun.
You will be there.
Oh yeah, I'm going.
I like that you made it sound like he was in the band.
No, I'm not in the band, I'm gonna watch the band. You join me, Otto. Bring a
Yes,
bottle of wine.
there
When
you
is
go.
it? New York Finest one?
New York Finest.
night.
It is Sunday night at North Hempstead Beach Park,
This
7
Sunday.
p.m. this Sunday.
I can't. I'm going to be in
Look at me, so
my
busy.
niece's house.
You still have to pencil you in.
She has
Then
birth.
on July 21st, Milagro is the Santana tribute band. And then, now we're talking Kristina's language because on July 28th is Larger Than Life, which is a boy band tribute band. I might have to clear my schedule for that one.
We'll have to go to that.
Now I
See
got one.
Kristina in her element,
What was on public television this week, which I recorded,
Mhm.
is a special about big bands during World War II.
Oh.
And that was very good. I'm not done with it yet. I
Oh, I
would
like it.
watch that at the end of the night when
Mhm.
we just want to watch something
I like that though.
short.
Yeah.
And the big bands were good.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
right. So there's really, as you can get the gist, there's something for everyone. And that's just the next 3 weeks. There's a whole bunch more that will be coming up at all different locations. And that, was just Sunday concerts. We have actually coming up, there's Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday concerts as well. On July 16th, which looks like a great one, is Freebird, which is a Leonard Skinner tribute band at Clengy Martin Park. So that sounds really, really fun too. So many different events and programs. Call 311 or 516-869-6311. There is certainly no reason to be bored in North Hempstead, and summer goes by fast, so you might as well get out there and enjoy it as much as possible. And Otto, I know you were also excited on top of the North Hempstead concerts that the Nassau County has its own concert series too, and these are noontime concert series.
Yes, they're daytime, which
Yeah, so
some
there's
seniors prefer.
Yeah, exactly. Right. There's
daytime,
something for
right.
everyone. Everyone's got their own kind of thing. So these are Wednesdays from 12 to 2 p.m. All events are weather permitting. You can call 516-572-0200 for up-to-date information. There's free admission. All you have to do is bring a blanket or a chair. There's so many different things that are going to be available. So I really,
And while you're there, you can watch progress of the cricket stadium being taken down.
oh, interesting.
They're not done?
Yeah, I would have thought it would have been
Yeah.
done by
They're
now.
done yet?
No, they're not done. Well, they weren't done last Sunday. Let's put it that way.
Wow. Well, it was, I'm sure, a gigantic undertaking because that was a massive, massive stadium. But yes, Otto's a man on the streets,
Well,
right?
it was
He's
a
in the community.
temporary stadium that gets transported all over the place,
Mhm.
wherever they need temporary stadiums.
I wonder if it'll be back. It was really popular. I live over in that area, and there was some days that it was quite backed up.
Well, when
trying to
India
get through.
played Pakistan,
Yeah.
the people came from all over the world
Yeah.
to see that game.
Yeah.
You know,
It was. It was
I
really.
mean, cricket is not big here, but it's big all over the world.
I know we were having a whole talk about that in my family
Yeah.
because we were saying, you know, living here, you
I
know, you're
still
like
don't
cricket.
understand it.
Yeah.
I tried, I've read, and
Yeah.
I
Well,
even played for 5 minutes in
Oh.
England when I was there
oh, look
on
at you.
business. But I
Mhm.
still didn't get it. You
Yeah.
have a bowler and you have three
You
sticks.
didn't
they
master
gotta-
your skill enough. Back to our first hour of segment. You know, you need to dive into it a little more, Otto.
Yeah.
If anyone can, Otto, it's certainly you. I have full faith in.
Maybe we should start a cricket team.
Well, listen, it's pickleball, cricket. There's a lot to do. There's a lot to do over here. Also, I want to let people know this came from communications. I don't have a flyer yet for it, but there are outdoor beginners yoga sessions that have been going on from Tuesday, June 25th through Thursday, August 22nd. No experience is needed to attend these sessions. You don't even need to register. You just need to bring your own yoga mat and a water bottle, of course. Manor Haven Beach Park, Port Washington, Tuesdays at 9 a.m. Clark Botanic Garden in Albertson is Wednesdays at 9 a.m. Fusillo Park on Thursdays at 9 a.m. and Bunkie Reed Park, Westbury on Thursdays at 10:30 a.m. Which is really nice. These have been working out. On a side note, these outdoor exercise classes, doing them early, because at Fun Day Monday, I was manning the office and I was getting texts, from the crew over at Fun Day Monday, and there was a huge amount of people participating in all the exercise classes that were going on there too, which was really, really nice because you're at the beach, you got a nice little breeze. It's early, because it starts before the program begins. So
It's supposed to be pretty hot next week.
I actually just had that conversation with my husband
Yeah.
while I was driving here, because he was like, can't get a break, working outside. And I was like,
Yeah.
sorry. I just feel like we need a solid rain. I can go on this tangent. We're getting these little thunderstorms. I just want like a really hearty rain.
Rain.
And then I also feel like the pressure is off. Like I could just lie down and just cuddle and not have to do something, Like I feel like if it's like, I'm like, got to make the most of it. I just need like a day to just like watch TV all day long. So
One day of COVID.
right. I
No,
just
not
need-
really. no.
Right. Yeah. Let's not get too
Not
crazy.
really, no.
Yeah. Let's not get too insane. But
Well, if you
just
look back on the COVID experience, that's when I did a lot of my ancestry and family tree
yeah,
work.
you made use of it.
And I'm not doing it anymore.
I know. Well, it's hard because you're right. Life
Yeah.
catches up. There was, it was a lot easier for me to like organize my house during COVID because I had nothing else to do. And now I'm like, I could think of 10,000 other things I'd rather do than organize my mug cabinet, So it's really, but it's all about scheduling, right, Otto, and
Yes.
preparing. It's all about balance.
Priorities.
That's right. You
focus.
just gotta balance things out a little bit.
That's part of what we talked about earlier, by the way, mastery,
Mhm.
the book, which I was very interested in that topic. But you really have to want to do it and make the time to do it,
Yes,
because otherwise it's not going to happen.
that is very true.
And when you were locked in because of COVID, all of a sudden you were forced to lock yourself in to do things that you really want to do,
Mhm.
but you didn't take the time to.
Yeah, or you didn't have the time, it's hard. Like, listen, I was even thinking about that too, by the time I get home from here, I go to work, I'm at work all day. By the time I get home, it's like already 5:30. Then I'm like, all right, well, now I got to figure out dinner. Then it's like you're either cooking
Which
dinner or you're
takeout
ordering
place are you gonna
dinner.
go to?
Yeah, well, unfortunately, I try to, balance
make
it out,
dinner.
the cooking. And I have to say, shout out to my husband, which was in Kristina news. There's always some kind of new contraption we're purchasing. So my husband bought a Blackstone grill, but it was supposed to be like a portable one for when we go out. We like to off-road. It's massive, very heavy because it's cast iron too. But we still figure it out.
A Blackstone grill.
It's a portable. Yeah, it's called a
Yeah.
table. It's a portable.
Yeah.
And which
Is
is
it
great.
with charcoal?
No. It's
Gas?
propane. Yep.
Really?
And it's got a griddle top. So I was like, all right, he wanted to use it out. I had some chicken in the house. I had some mixed vegetables. I had some noodles. He like whipped up a hibachi and it was incredibly delicious, so fast. It was great for me because I didn't have to do any of the cleanup, which was fabulous. But it was such a lovely experience. I have to give a special shout out to that.
What's different about it? We're not selling this, by the
Yeah,
way. but
no,
this
we're
is
not.
just
We're not sponsored by
conversation.
Blackstone,
What
but if
is
I was,
different
I would
about
take
a
it.
Blackstone grill.
it's just always, you always hear about it, right? And of course, my husband does so much research and stuff. And we were in the market for a portable kind of situation. Even though, of course, this was a little heavy to be portable,
Well,
but
you got to take a tank with you too.
well, we have the little, they're like little ones,
right,
yeah,
okay.
that we've used before when we've camped and stuff. So, but it was real, and it's actually a nice thing for someone who doesn't need a giant barbecue, you know, because this, you could put it on any table. I mean, it's big, but it's not as big as a barbecue. And they make smaller ones, certainly. You know, we just had to get the fancy one that had the side burner. I mean, it's the story of our
See, I'm
lives.
becoming an air fryer
I mean, I
guru.
love an air fryer.
Yeah.
I love an air fryer. I really,
Chicken legs in an air fryer are the greatest.
I'm a big like chicken tender
Yeah,
gal in the air
French
fryer.
fries are very good in air
Good.
fryer.
Vegetables are delicious. Brussels
But
sprouts
the
are really good in
problem
an air fryer.
is, if I do chicken legs, then we can't do French fries.
Well, see, I have the air
You gotta-
fryer, the side by side, so I
you
can
d-
do two different things going
We
on.
will
at
have to
one
talk
time.
about that
Yes.
offline because I need to get one
Yes.
like that. Yeah.
I do. I have the side by side because that was
Side
my
by
dilemma.
side
Yes.
air fryer.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And you know, we're getting the high sign because we're rambling over here.
Oh, okay.
And I was good. After the break, Otto and I will continue talking about what's going on in the town of North Hempstead. You're listening to Project Independence and You Talk of the Town on LIU Public Radio.
Take WCWP with you wherever you go with the WCWP app. Listen live 24/7 to all of our streams, all from one app. Plus, call the studios directly from the app and visit our social media. Download the app through the iOS App Store on Apple devices or the Google Play Store on Android by searching WCWP Radio or visit WCWP.org for links. The WCWP app, available now on iOS and Android devices.
Welcome back to Community Talk Radio. This is Project Independence and You Talk of the Town on LIU Public Radio. Let's get back into the town and all things summer. You know, we might veer off Otto, but you know, we're just talking about things that are summer things, like barbecuing, you know, is a great part of summer. We just got back from 4th of July week, which was last week, which was a great time. I have to say, my 4th of July looked a little different this year because it was really like all about our dogs. So we had, you know, my dog, my brother brought over his 2 little corgis. And we had the whole backyard just like fun for them. There was a pool for the dogs. They had their little, I mean, they're living life. Paula had said to me if she was a dog, she would, you know, live with me.
See,
we had
now,
bacon flavored bubbles.
well, we
Didn't
were
know
gonna
that was a
have-
thing. Had that.
I was going to have a barbecue.
Mhm.
I had visitors from Florida, and it was 90 degrees that
Yep.
day. So we ended up doing Chinese takeout.
Okay. You know what? Where there's a will, there's a way. I have to say,
In lieu of a
my
barbecue.
dad is quite a trooper, right? So, you know, my dad's nickname is Bucky from his hockey days, just on a sidebar. So
Right.
we always call it the Bucky barbecue. And he takes it very serious. And I have to say, it was so incredibly hot. Luckily, what we purchased, which I also highly recommend, which was very inexpensive, to cover the barbecue, we got this like canopy kind of thing that's meant for over the barbecue. Lovely. Gave him some great shade. And he didn't do any complaining, but I have to, you know, I'm like the helper. So I have to, you know, be the sous chef in the situation and take everyone's order and, you know, help keep him hydrated. And anything. Cause I told him, I said, work smarter, not harder, Dad, you know,
See,
was
now
my
that's a
overall
skill.
motto.
That's a skill by
Oh.
itself.
It's a skill working with my dad, let me tell you.
Taking barbecue orders.
Oh, and
Don't
let me
make
tell you,
28
you know,
hamburgers.
I'm going to digress briefly, but you know, it's a funny story that, you know, we don't, which everyone must be so sorry. We don't do anything too simple in my household, right? We claim we're going to do it. We're going to simplify it. We're not going to have too much stuff. But if you do anything with my mom, you know, like a true Greek woman, you know, it is just an abundance of food at all time. We had like 5 people at the barbecue, but it was, you know, could have fed the neighborhood. And it's never just, you know, I'm like, let's just keep it simple. Let's do one side, but it's steak, it's chicken. And then it was, she's like, we need to have hamburgers and hot dogs because it's the 4th of July. I'm like, but we have steak and chicken, but okay. So we had to do the hamburgers and hot dogs. Then it was like all the sides. It was like the pasta salad. Then she had made onion rings and it was never ending. And I was like, is this simple? But I'm just you know,
Overkill.
that's what we do. It's how we do it.
Yeah.
It's how we do in the Lufanel household. But shout out to my dad for, you know, powering through because it was so hot. And I was so jealous of the dogs that just were floating around in the pool, like while we were all sweating profusely. But needless to say, it was fun. And the barbecuing is great. And I really recommend if you are just a small You know, if you're just you and your wife or you're alone, you know, these little small, tiny tabletop barbecue things are really nice too. And I have to say the cleanup is nice, you know, not having all these pots and pans to clean in my kitchen. So some are fun, right? Something you can do. We were talking Otto previous shows about staycation. So there you go. There's my 2 cents on the staycation and get out to the beach, you know, if it is and properly, I have to say, as I got older, I realized it's really nice to have like shaded parts of the beach. You can still enjoy the beach without like, you know, being beaten on by the sand. So, you know, now we schlep all these things. And of course, now we have a cart with the dog. I mean, there's just so many things to schlep to the beach nowadays, but it's so nice.
Yeah.
And I really encourage people to go. That's something that when my grandpa was alive, he loved going to the beach and of course like taking photographs, but it was just a very calming kind of place. And it's just nice to be outside, but
Well, I
safely.
used to be a beach nut.
Mhm.
I'd go all the time. But now, to be blunt about it, I don't think I could handle laying in the sand.
Yeah, but let me tell
Yeah.
you, there's so many nice little lounge chairs and
Oh,
chairs,
yeah,
and
yeah.
and you could just come to my house because we have a variety of everything. Because God forbid, you know, it's ever just simple.
Well, you need like a warehouse, really.
That's what our garage is actually called. But you know, it's just I'm like, how many
And
versions of
and
a chair do I
barcode
need?
system.
Because every summer my husband's like, we gotta get chairs. What do you mean we have to get chairs? Like we have chairs. No, but there's this chair. You know, every chair is better than the previous chair. So we have a chair for all kinds of things. You want to go to the woods and sit in a chair? I have a chair for you. You
Yeah,
want to
well,
sit
what
in the
happens
sand?
to my chairs is I have my name on them, and somebody says, "Okay, could I borrow
Mm-hmm.
them?" And then next time I need them, I don't know where they are.
see.
I need a
So you need me.
barcode system.
You need me, who is like the
Yeah.
queen of being like, I lent you something. I'm gonna need it back now. You know, you
Yeah.
need to.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna forget about
Well,
all
I
because
used to
I
be
am
good
the
at that,
warehouse
but
that
now
gets
I don't
borrowed.
really want to get it back because
Yeah.
I'd rather go to their house.
So that's very funny you say such a thing because I have the same conversation now that my brother owns a home. He's still constantly borrowing stuff, you know, from me. But now I'm like, just keep it in your garage. Yeah, I'll come get it when I need it, you know. So keep all those folding chairs and those tables in your garage, and I will get it when I need it. But I am the queen of chairs. So my friends come to my house just assuming they're gonna use one of my chairs for the beach. So it's quite interesting, you know. And I'm telling you, now that I have a dog, the stuff that
The
we have
dog
to have
has
for
his own
him.
chair.
He's got a tent, he's got a cot, he has his wagon now, and then we had to get a new blanket because he gets too much sand on the blanket. I mean, it's just I can go on forever. I also have a crazy amount of beach blankets if anyone's looking for anything. Coolers, beach blankets. I mean, it's really it's a lot. We could do a whole party there, a whole talk on.
Let's stop at her house on my way to the beach.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
guys just come out. We'll just
Pick up what
have
I need.
yeah, right. We'll just you sign it out. That's it.
Yeah, right.
I'll have a little
You should
sign.
have a little sign in front of the house.
Yeah,
Christina's
sign it up.
Linda.
Yeah, no problem.
Linda
Whatever you
gear.
guys need. We could like set up cute like events. I mean, I could do a whole theme party for you if you really
So
need
this
to.
could be a town benefit. You could set this up for the town.
Listen, North Hempstead, if you're listening out there, you know, give me a call.
Christina's Linda.
Give me a call.
Beach
But
blend.
get out there, you know, and I'm telling you, a beach umbrella goes a long way. It really does give you a really nice amount of shade. To think that I ever went to the beach without an umbrella blows my mind now.
Well, I go to the beach every Sunday
Mhm.
morning to Jones Beach, but
Mhm.
very rarely do I hit the sand.
Yes.
It's all along the boardwalk in Jones Beach,
Mhm. Yeah, well, there you go.
you know.
But it's nice. I see. I'm such an ocean girl. I say, you know, I have like a mermaid soul. I love the ocean. I feel like there is no greater feeling than jumping in the ocean and
I love
cleansing.
the ocean too. Last Sunday, there's a sign in Jones
Mhm.
Beach that flips down or up,
Mhm.
swimming, no swimming. The swimming sign was no swimming, and they
Really?
were all red flags. Yeah.
Well, it was the
Riptide,
riptides were crazy.
riptide,
Yeah.
serious stuff.
Mhm.
You know,
And that's a great point too. Be very careful. And you don't need to go that far to enjoy. I'm
No.
a firm believer in that, right? You know, you can really just go ankle in and
Well,
have a
it's-
grand old
you
time.
can get some. Unfortunately, I'm not going to get into
Yeah.
it. But my granddaughter had a very serious problem. Me watching,
Yeah,
and the tide just pulled her out.
Yeah.
And thank God
No.
the lifeguards were on
absolutely.
the stick.
No,
Yes, they
absolutely. You
got-
got to be very, very careful. And
You
that's
know,
why I always
it's
say
serious stuff.
you can do a quick dip and, you know, come right
Yeah,
out. But I
no,
do
that's-
love
you
the
got to
ocean.
respect the ocean.
Right. There you go.
I
I
mean,
like
I've
that.
been flipped upside down so many times
Oh,
where my head hits the
yes.
ground and I'm wondering what direction am I going?
There's
You know,
no scarier
it's-
feeling than
No, it
that.
is.
Absolutely. But enjoy the outdoors safely, right? While
That's a
respecting
good
it.
point.
That's really at the end of the day, everything, you know.
Or
And of
go to-
course,
or
make
go
sure
to
you
a-
have your skin protection on, however you might do that. Just
Which you
very
can get in the Town of North Hempstead parks.
Oh,
They have,
yep, the little
actually,
dispensers.
yeah.
Good point. Absolutely. And I'm a huge fan of like the comfort, like sun clothing. I know I mention it often on here, but like the little like long sleeve kind of sun shirts are like one of my favorite things. I really enjoy them.
Well, I know your husband is into the
Mm-hmm.
landscaping world, and I'm always amazed at the people who do that
Right.
work. They're wearing hats, they're wearing long sleeve
Yeah.
shirts, long pants,
Mm-hmm.
and I guess they get used to the heat, but they're not getting, like me, messed up with the sun.
Yeah. Got to
Yeah.
be careful, right? So it's all proactive things you can do while enjoying yourself at the
Yes.
end of the day. Off break, off air, when we were on break, we were talking about Otto got a new phone, and we were talking about, you know, oh my God, what do you do with all these phones that you accumulate? And how do you get rid of them? But you can bring the e-waste to different programs in North Hempstead. And the next one is, mark your calendar, Otto, because this can be for you. Saturday, July 20th, from 8 a.m. to 12 p.m. Over at 802 West Shore Road in Port Washington. You can drop off all of your e-waste kind of things, your computers, your laptops. I mean,
And this new phone.
and in addition to this,
Which I
Dan's
have-
already has Otto getting a different phone.
Which brings up another point, all right?
Mhm.
I'm pretty proficient at technology,
Mhm.
all right? But it's every time you change a device,
I know.
it's never the same as the last one.
Yeah.
All right. So point being that maybe you can get some help from Project Independence, because eventually, whether you like the idea or not, you get forced to change something.
Mhm.
No longer support Windows 8, 9, 10,
Yeah.
whatever.
No, it's
this
true.
comes along, that comes along, and all of a sudden you're like starting all over
Mhm.
again. The app that worked before doesn't work now. You got to change this, you got to change that, different settings and so on. So
And this
it's
is coming from our
ongoing.
technology guy. You know, it's so I think that that's important for everyone to listen to, that it could be difficult for everyone, and you should check
and,
out.
and that leads to things like Project
Mhm.
Independence's smart fan.
Well, you just took the words right out,
Yeah.
because right yesterday, I just booked 2 dates for the fall for the smart van. It will be back at Clinton G. Martin Park on October 16th. Which is also the same day as one of our advisory committee meetings, because I think it's great that you can kind of do both. And then we're going to have a date in November, which I can't remember. It might be November 14th. I have to double check what that date is, at the Port Washington Adult Activity Center too. So it's a really great place to sit with them. And I have to say, this is through our partnership with Family and Children's Association. And they sit one-on-one with you. They've even made, you know, personal kind of visits to people outside of that. So you can come to them with your phone, with your laptop, with just any kind of question in the technology world. So really important stuff.
It's always changing.
It is. I know. And I mean, I laugh, Otto, because at least you are willing to keep up with it. You know, my dad is much younger than you, but still has a track phone kind of a situation going on. And he wants to know why he doesn't have as fun of emojis as I have on my iPhone. So that in itself is, you know, disgusting to him. And then somehow he can never figure out how to pay his phone bill, and he doesn't know why I can do it so easily. So this
See,
is just one of the ongoing struggles of
behalf
life.
of people like your
Mhm.
father, all right. I, in my business life, had to adapt.
Yes.
That's
So
what I
that's
did, all
exactly right.
So I had a little bit of
Yeah.
a jump.
Yes.
And I had people around me who knew what they were doing,
Right.
who I could go to
Yeah.
and learn. Yeah.
No, that's a very great point, because, you know, I always say, you know, my mom is still working, but, you know, worked in a place where there was always computers and technology, you know, so she's, you know, clearly more adept. My dad, like, you know, was in a sporting goods store and then did roofing, you know, for years. So it wasn't, you know, technology at the forefront of things. Right. We'll give him a bit of a pass, Otto, you know.
Yeah,
Yes.
you know,
You're giving him some
reality
understanding and
is
grace. I
what-
personally think he just plays the card so I could just come up and he can hang out with me, but
Well,
that's
it's
neither here
scary,
nor
it's
there.
overwhelming.
Yes.
you
And
know.
it's so much easier to just call his daughter who lives downstairs to come up and do things for him, which I think is a little more about it. I think he's quite confident, but likes to act like he can't find the Yankee game
Well,
on
even you
Prime.
wouldn't remember dealing with DOS, all right? When
Uh-huh.
DOS first came out, it was like, this is like a completely foreign land, if you recall,
Language, yeah.
with the green screen and you had to know all these weird
Commands.
symbols
Yeah.
and characters.
Yeah, you were like coding.
Yeah, I mean,
Right.
yeah, it was,
Yeah.
it was like, this stuff is easy compared
Mhm.
to that. That was brutal.
Yeah, but
Looking
go
back
to
on
our
it.
smart van and, because we always say this, obviously there's a lot of benefits to, having a certain understand of technology. And that's certainly where the world, is going. And if you want to stay in contact and it does help people, especially, look, we always say with COVID, it helped you to at least be connected in that kind of way to people.
Well, like the book that we were talking
Mm-hmm.
about, Mastery, all right. This is a good example of it, actually, of mastering. You don't have to, mastering is on different levels.
Yes,
all right?
absolutely.
Maybe it's just important for you to know certain things on the phone.
Yeah.
You don't have to be a
No, and
master.
that I'm so glad you mentioned that, Otto, because especially dealing with seniors, a lot of time, and I've been in this program long enough to have seen, the evolution. When we first would, it was just like, no, get that computer away. Don't even talk about computers to me. When we would get our surveys back, that's one of the questions, like, do you have computer access? Do you have internet? And most of the time it was no, no, no. Now, when we get the surveys back, it's yes, yes, yes. Whether they utilize it or not, is another story. But I remember telling seniors that, maybe you don't need a crazy laptop if you're not dealing with, certain functions, if you don't need Microsoft Word or Excel or something, if you're just looking for general things, and you're like, a tablet was so much more user friendly. And I remember with like, when we were starting out, it was something that was easier, for the senior who's never, been involved in these things to do, because it was, all right, you click this for the internet to look up something, to watch, whatever your app might be. So I like that, Otto, that you mentioned that, because you don't necessarily need to be proficient. I mean, who is, unless that's your thing, but there's certain little things that I think, you can just simplify and master.
Yeah, I mean, I'll have it in my own home, all right? When Bunny worked, my wife, she used Word Perfect at St. John's, all right? And if she had any problem whatsoever with the computer or the system, they'd call the technical department, the IT department, and they'd walk them through it. So because of that, frankly, even though she had that exposure, she's really not comfortable with it. So I'm like tech support. And my tech support is my grandson and my son-in-law.
Yeah, I like that. It's
But
like a chain of tech
I don't
support.
bother them too often,
Yeah.
but when I do, they
It's
have
serious,
a
right.
problem digging through it also. And so it's on behalf of the people who may be afraid of it. That's okay.
Yeah.
No,
absolutely. I
Yeah.
agree. Because you're right. If it's something that it's so foreign to you, if you were not, in a workplace with it, or, young in school with it and stuff. I mean, kids nowadays, come out, swiping with their finger, it's like crazy, but it is, I get the fear of it, but I think it's all about starting small, right? And
well,
just
that's the
taking,
point
conquering
I
baby
think we're
steps.
getting at is but like the old adage I use all the time about eat an
Enough at
elephant
one bite at a time. One of my
time.
favorite
And
autos.
you don't need to eat the whole elephant.
Yeah.
You pick your poison, if
Yeah.
you will.
Yeah.
But it's worth learning.
Absolutely.
I mean, there's a lot of things nowadays you can't do. You can't even buy tickets anymore for an event.
Let me tell you,
you
and
can't get into an event if you don't
I
have a
think about that
smartphone.
all the time, right? Because of course, in many of the things in my life, I'm always the ticket holder, right? God forbid, even if I wasn't the person who purchased the tickets, somehow they get transferred to my phone because nobody wants that. And they're like,
so now you
Kristina,
got
it's on you.
8 tickets.
So,
and
right. You need
yeah.
to, you need to be the one to, but it's very upsetting for someone who likes to save tickets. I mean, I have a ticket book, so now I have to screenshot this and print it out. But I always think about that, like, what does the person do who doesn't have a smartphone?
They can't
Like,
go
what
to
do you
the
do?
game.
Like, what do you like? Is there no other option? And I
Well,
think
how do you
about
buy tickets?
well, it depends
I
on
mean,
like
if
what.
how would you buy tickets to a Met game? As an
I
example,
assume Ticketmaster.
if you didn't have a phone.
I know.
I don't, I remember going to Shea Stadium or whatever stadium and waiting online to get tickets to
Yeah.
an event.
My mom used to
at
do
this
that for
place,
me. Yeah,
you
I know. Well, listen,
Yeah.
times are changing and you gotta, you want to stay connected. You can do it,
One
easily.
bite at a
But
time.
Otto, another jam-packed show. I want to thank everyone for listening to Project Independence and You, Talk of the Town. I'd like to thank Otto for another great show. Project Independence and You is a production of Long Island University Public Radio, and a special thank you to our very own Wizard of Oz, Dan Cox, who is the station manager. Join us again next Friday at 10 a.m. on LIU Public Radio. Goodbye. Have a good weekend and stay cool.